The rain fell hard on the alien forest, turning the ground into thick mud. Lightning flashed through the sky, lighting up twisted trees and strange plants that shimmered with blue sap. The wind howled like a beast, and even the animals had gone silent. Marcus, a human scavenger, moved carefully between the trees. His coat was soaked, and the cold bit through his gloves. He had come to this side of the planet searching for old tech parts. There were rumors of crashed ships in the deeper wood ships filled with rare materials. But today, he had found nothing. Only rain, fog, and the growing feeling that something was watching him. He stopped. Something had made a noise, a soft cry. Like a wounded animal, Marcus turned, aiming his small flashlight toward the sound. The beam shook slightly in his hand. The noise came again, a whimper, soft and weak. He walked slowly, carefully. His boots sank into the mud with each step. The trees grew thicker, the air heavier. Then he saw it. A creature, small, curled up under a twisted root. Its body was covered in dark, wet fur. It shivered in the cold. One leg stretched at a strange angle, broken. Its breathing was fast and shallow. Marcus froze. He had never seen anything like it. Its head turned toward him. Its eyes met his large round, glowing with soft gold light. Not wild, not empty. There was pain. But also fear, intelligence. "Hey," Marcus said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you." The creature didn't move. It blinked once, then looked away, as if waiting to be killed. Marcus looked around. No one else. No hunters. No traps. He stepped closer. The creature flinched. "It's okay," he said. "You're hurt. Let me help." He knelt beside it. The creature didn't resist. Its body trembled as he placed his jacket gently over it. "You're freezing," he whispered. Marcus didn't understand why he was doing this. He had been warned not to touch unknown animals. Some could be deadly, some might infect you. Some were bait for ambushes, but this one, it looked so helpless, so alone. He lifted it slowly. It was lighter than he expected, too thin. Bones under. Fur. He wrapped the jacket tighter around it and turned back toward his camp. The rain came harder now. Thunder cracked overhead. But Marcus didn't stop. He carried the creature for over a mile, all the way to the small shelter he had built between the cliffs. It was nothing more than a metal pod with heating and a single bed. But it was warm. Safe. He opened the door and stepped inside, placing the creature gently on a soft blanket near the heater. The pod lights flickered as they turned on. The creature whimpered. Marcus knelt beside it. "It's okay now. You're safe." He opened a med kit and found a warming pack. He placed it near the creature's side. Then he poured water into a bowl and set it down carefully. The creature looked at him again, those same glowing eyes, still filled with fear. Marcus leaned back, giving it space. "You can rest now," he said. "No one's going to hurt you." He watched for a while, unsure of what to do next. Eventually, the creature curled tighter, resting its head on the blanket. Its breathing slowed. It closed its eyes. Marcus sat against the wall and sighed. He didn't know what he had just brought into his shelter, but something deep in his gut told him he had done the right thing. The storm outside roared through the night. Lightning danced across the sky. The forest remained dangerous, but inside the pod, it was quiet. The creature slept. Marcus did too. Finally, but what neither of them knew was that by morning, the creature would be gone, and in its place would be a girl. The morning came slowly. A soft orange glow filled the sky outside the shelter. The storm had passed, leaving behind dripping trees, thick fog, and calm silence. The sound of rain hitting the roof had stopped. Inside the shelter, warmth hummed softly from the heater. Marcus opened his eyes. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he looked across the small room to the blanket near the heater. He sat up fast. The creature was gone. The blanket was there, still bunched up. The warming pack was still glowing softly beside it. But the space was empty. Marcus stood quickly, his heart racing. No, I didn't imagine it, he whispered to himself. He looked around the shelter, checking behind the gear shelves. Under the table, the door was locked. No signs of blood. No muddy tracks. Nothing. He had carried that creature all the way here. He had wrapped it in his jacket. He had watched it sleep, and now it was just gone. He turned back toward the bed, then stopped. Someone was there, lying on the edge of the bed, not the creature. A girl. She looked young, maybe 18. Her skin was pale, with a faint silver glow. Her hair was long, soft, and almost white, with a few golden strands running through it. She was wrapped tightly in the jacket Marcus had used on the creature, and she was completely still. Marcus took a careful step closer. Her legs were folded beneath her, her arms tucked close to her chest. She wasn't breathing fast like the creature had. Her chest rose and fell slowly, calmly. She looked like she was sleeping, but it didn't make sense. She hadn't been there last night. Only the creature had. Marcus swallowed hard and crouched. Near her, "Hey, can you hear me?" The girl's eyes opened. They were golden, the same golden eyes that had stared at him from beneath the tree root in the rain. She sat up fast, backing against the wall. Marcus raised his hands. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." She looked at him, confused, scared. Her lips parted like she wanted to speak, but no sound came out. She pulled the jacket tighter around herself and curled her knees to her chest. Marcus stayed still. "You were the creature, weren't you?" She blinked, then slowly. She nodded. He exhaled. "Okay? Wow. Okay." The girl tilted her head. Her eyes moved over the room, then back to him. She didn't look like she understood everything, but she wasn't panicking. She pointed at herself, then at him. Marcus nodded. "Yeah, you were injured. I brought you here." She looked down at her legs. One of them had a bruise on the side, but it was already healing. Her skin shimmered slightly in the light, almost like soft glass. "Can you speak?" he asked gently. She opened her mouth again, but only made a sound soft, like a broken whisper. Marcus frowned. "Can you understand me?" She nodded slowly. "Do you have a name?" She looked confused again. He pointed to himself. "I'm Marcus." She looked at him, thinking. Then she touched her chest and said, very softly, "Kara." It was the first real word she had spoken. Marcus smiled. "Kara, that's a beautiful name." She lowered her head slightly, shy but not afraid. He stood up and stepped away, giving her space. "I'll find you something warmer to wear. You must be freezing." She watched him move, her golden eyes never blinking. When he handed her a clean shirt and soft pants, she took them carefully, almost like they were sacred. He turned his back to give her privacy. While she dressed, his mind raced. She had transformed, right in his shelter. Last night, she was a hurt, animal-like creature. Now, she was a girl. Alien, yes, but clearly intelligent, sensitive, afraid, and beautiful. Too beautiful. When he turned around again, she stood awkwardly in the oversized clothes, her arms crossed tightly, unsure of what to do next. Marcus smiled gently. "You don't have to. Be scared. I'll help you. I won't let anyone hurt you." Kara looked at him for a long moment. Then she stepped forward very slowly and placed her hand over his chest. Her skin was warm. She didn't speak, but the look in her eyes said everything. She understood, and she trusted him for the first time in who knows how long. She wasn't alone. Neither was he. Kara didn't speak much. After the first morning passed, she stayed mostly quiet. Sitting near the heater, wrapped in Marcus's oversized shirt and soft blanket. Her golden eyes followed every move he made, but she didn't seem afraid anymore. Just curious. Watchful. Marcus tried not to stare. But it was difficult. She was unlike anything he'd seen human in shape. But there were little details that made her different. Her skin, pale with a soft shimmer, glowed slightly when she was warm. Her eyes reflected light like the surface of calm water. When she moved, it was silent and smooth, almost too perfect. But what surprised him most was how she looked at the world. Every object, every sound, every shadow seemed new to her. She was learning everything. Fast Marcus had offered her food, earlier simple rations warmed over a portable heat plate. She had sniffed it, tilted her head, and tasted it carefully. Then she had nodded with a small smile. No words. Just a gesture, and somehow it was enough. Later that afternoon, Marcus sat at the small workbench, fixing a broken scanner. Kara sat on the floor nearby, legs crossed, head tilted, watching him work. The quiet was comfortable now. No tension, but then something strange happened. Kara stood up and walked over to him. She didn't say a word. She simply placed her hand gently on his forearm. Marcus looked up at her. What is it? Her eyes narrowed and her fingers tightened. Suddenly, his mind flashed images, memories, but not his own. He saw Care running through tall silver trees. Chased by shapes wearing black armor, she shifted into a beast claws and furbit even. Then she was outnumbered. She limped into a cave. She collapsed in the rain. The image changed. She was younger, sitting in a white room filled with soft music and lights. Others like her stood nearby. Then the scene shattered. Fire, fear. Screaming, Marcus blinked hard and pulled his arm back. The vision stopped. He gasped. What? What was that? Kara stepped away, eyes wide. She looked worried, like she had done something wrong. But Marcus raised a hand slowly. It's okay. I just wasn't ready. She pointed to her head, then to his chest. Then she touched her own heart. I saw your memories, he asked. She nodded once. He sat back, stunned. You can show thoughts with touch. She nodded. Again, this time with a soft smile. That's incredible. She moved closer again and reached toward him but stopped, giving him the choice. He nodded. She touched his hand. Another flash, this time slower, clearer. A glowing tree. A silver river. A large room filled with light. She stood in the center, hands glowing. Others bowing around her. Then it all turned to darkness again. Screams. Running, a cage. Escape. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He pulled back, not out of fear, but from the weight of it all. You were important, he said. Where you came from, they were protecting you. Kara looked down, her expression heavy. He stood and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. And now they're hunting you. She nodded. A tear slipped down her cheek, not water. It shimmered like light. Marcus wiped it gently. You're safe. Here, I won't let anyone find you. She looked up at him, surprised. No one had ever promised her safety before, not with words, not like this. He gave a small smile. You don't have to speak to be understood. She smiled too, then held out both hands. Lights formed above her palms, floating shapes made of energy. A soft blue glow filled the room. Marcus stared in awe. You can make light. She nodded. The shapes shifted into stars, birds, waves, and finally, a human holding a smaller figure protecting it. He understood. You want to stay. She nodded again. You want to stay with me. She blinked slowly, and that was the moment Marcus knew something had changed. She wasn't just a creature he had saved. She wasn't just an alien who had turned into a girl. She was someone with a heart, with fear, with power, with memories that haunted her, and she had chosen him. Outside, the sun began to fade behind the clouds. Inside, the little shelter felt warmer than ever. Two strangers from two worlds, and now, something more. The wind had changed. Marcus noticed it first when he stepped outside the shelter to check the sensors. The air no longer smelled like rain and wet soil. It smelled metallic. Sharp. Wrong. He stood still, listening. The forest was too quiet. The birds were gone. No rustling in the trees, no buzzing insects, just silence. The kind that comes before something bad. He checked the sensor logs. There was a motion alert, just one, from the far edge of the forest perimeter. Too fast to be an animal, but too small to be a vehicle. He reset the alarm and stepped back inside. Kara sat near the heater, drawing shapes in the air with soft light from her fingertips. When Marcus entered, she looked up. He forced a smile. Everything's fine. But her eyes narrowed. She tilted her head like she could hear something he couldn't. Then her glowing fingers dimmed. Marcus walked over and crouched beside her. "Is something wrong?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stood and walked to the door, pressing her palm against the metal. Her eyes closed. She stood completely still. Then she opened her eyes and whispered, "They're here." Marcus's blood turned cold. "Who?" Kara turned slowly. Her voice was soft. "The ones who hunt." He grabbed his rifle from the wall and checked the charge. "Can they track you?" She nodded. "Through scent, through memory." "They don't." "Stop. Are they close?" Kara walked to the back corner of the shelter and touched the floor. A soft pulse of light spread out from her hand. It scanned the earth like a radar. She looked at Marcus and held up 3 fingers. "3 of them?" he asked. She nodded again. Marcus cursed under his breath. "We have to move." He stuffed supplies into his packwater, energy cells, bandages, food rations. Kara helped, moving quickly and silently. She didn't ask questions. She already knew. The hunters had found her, and they were coming. They left through the back. Tunnel 1 Marcus had dug months ago as an escape path in case of wild animals or sudden storms. He had never used it before. He never thought he would. But now, it was the only way out as they moved through the tight space. Kara reached out and touched Marcus's shoulder. A flash entered his mind. 3 figures tall, wrapped in armor like bones and shadows. Their helmets were smooth, no eyes, no mouths. They carried weapons that burned and cut at the same time. One of them had grabbed her once, before she had escaped. Barely, Marcus shook off the vision and nodded. "We keep going." They emerged from the tunnel into the trees just as the first beam of energy exploded behind them, hitting the shelter. The blast lit the sky with fire. Kara gasped. Marcus turned, saw the glow of flames rising above the hill. "They tracked us." "Faster than I thought," he said. "We have to disappear." They ran. Kara followed Marcus down a narrow trail between giant roots and glowing plants. Her bare feet barely made a sound. She moved like the wind, always close, always alert. Behind them, the hunters moved too, silent, precise, closer with every second. Marcus ducked under a low branch and grabbed Kara's hand. "This way." He pulled her toward an old cave hidden behind a waterfall, one he had discovered on his first week here. It was deep, winding, and full of tunnels that led into the mountains. They reached it just as another shot rang out, burning through a tree beside them. Kara screamed as the tree collapsed behind them, blocking the path. Marcus pushed her inside. The cave uncovered the entrance with stones and branches. Then he turned to her. "We can't stay here long, but this will slow them down." Kara was shaking. She touched her arm, where a burn mark was starting to form. Her skin glowed faintly around it, healing slowly, but painfully. Marcus knelt beside her. "Are you okay?" She nodded, barely. He took her hand, gently. "I won't let them take you." She looked up at him with wide, fearful eyes. "They want my gift." "What gift?" She touched his forehead just for a second, and suddenly he saw it. Not just memories, a hidden power inside her. A light that could shape energy, heal, change matter. They weren't hunting her for who she was. They were hunting her for what she could become. "She's the last," a voice echoed in his mind. "The last of her kind." The vision ended. Kara let go. Marcus stared at her in shock. "You're important." She looked down. "More than you told me." She nodded. Outside, another blast rocked the earth. They were still coming. Marcus stood and loaded his weapon. "Then let's make sure they don't catch you." Kara stood too, her eyes glowing brighter than before. She wasn't just a scared girl anymore. She was preparing to fight. The cave shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Stones cracked under pressure. The hunters were close to close. Their weapons echoed through the tunnels behind Marcus and Kara, like drums of war. Kara pressed herself against the wall, breathing hard. Her silver hair was damp with sweat. Her skin still glowed faintly, especially where the burn mark had appeared earlier. It had nearly healed, but her strength was fading. Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle and reached for her hand. "We can't stop here." Kara nodded. They pushed forward through the narrow tunnel. The path sloped down deeper into the mountain. It was darker here, and colder. Their footsteps echoed louder than they wanted. But there was no other way. Marcus kept checking the small tracker on his wrist. The enemy signals were gaining. "They're splitting up," he muttered. "They're trying to surround us." Kara touched the wall with her palm. Light spread from her skin, moving through the stone like water. A soft vibration returned, telling her where the tunnels connected, which paths led to dead ends, which led to safety. She pointed left. Marcus didn't ask how she knew. They followed her choice. The tunnel widened and opened into a giant cavern. In the middle of the room was a frozen lake-lit surface, smooth and glowing from crystals beneath the ice. Strange plants grew along the edges, curling toward the ceiling, reflecting soft blue light. Marcus slowed. "This place, it's beautiful." Kara looked around carefully. Her eyes narrowed. "It's old." She stepped onto the ice without fear. Her feet made no sound. Marcus followed, more cautious. "How far does this go?" Before she could answer, the wall behind them exploded. A hunter stepped through tall, wrapped in dark armor. Its helmet glowing red. Kara screamed. Marcus fired. The shot hit the hunter's shoulder and sent sparks flying. But it didn't fall. It raised a strange weapon, sharp and long, like a spear made of light. Marcus grabbed Kara's arm and pulled her back. "Run!" he shouted. They ran across the frozen lake, their reflections chasing them below. Another blast struck the ice behind them, sending cracks across the surface. Kara stumbled. The hunter raised its whip again. Marcus turned and shot 3 times each, blast hitting harder. The last one knocked the hunter back, but another figure stepped through the broken wall. There were 2 now. Kara looked at Marcus, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. Then she stepped forward, barefoot on the cracking ice, and raised her hands. Her skin shimmered. Her arms stretched. Her body shifted, not into the small beast she had once been, but into something else, taller, stronger. Her silver hair became longer, her skin brighter, and her arms thicker with glowing lines of power. Her eyes were no longer soft. They burned. With fire, Marcus stared in awe. Kara. She raised her hands. A blast of energy shot from her palms, straight at the hunters. It hit them like thunder, sending them flying into the cave walls. The ice beneath her feet didn't break. It hardened, strengthened by her power. Kara's body trembled. The transformation was powerful but painful. Marcus ran to her. "Stop, you'll hurt yourself." She turned to him, her voice deeper now, glowing with energy. "If I don't fight, they will take you too." He grabbed her arms gently. "We do this together." Kara looked into his eyes. She shrunk back slowly, her body returning to its smaller, softer form. Her breathing was heavy. She collapsed into his arms. Marcus held her tight. "I've got you." He carried her across the rest of the frozen lake, into another tunnel. This one led down again, twisting through sharp rock and narrow passageways. Behind them, the hunters regrouped. They were angry now, but Marcus wasn't running without a plan. He found a spot where the tunnel narrowed and set. Up a small explosive charge. As he carried Kara through the next turn, the blast echoed behind them. The tunnel collapsed, at least for now. Marcus found a quiet place to rest. Kara lay beside him, her head on his lap. She was shaking. "You saved me," he whispered. Her voice was weak. "I hurt them." "You didn't kill them," he said. "You defended us." She looked up at him. "They won't stop." "Then neither will we." He brushed her hair back gently. "I don't care what they want from you. You're not a weapon. You're not a tool." Her lip trembled. "You're a person, and I'll protect you." Tears filled her eyes, not glowing ones this time, real ones. The girl he had saved in the rain had saved him back, and now they would fight for a future neither of them had expected. Together, the cave was quiet now. Only the soft hum of crystals in the stone walls filled the silence. Marcus sat against the smooth rock, his arms wrapped around Kara, who lay resting beside him. Her head rested gently against his shoulder, her breathing soft but steady. The danger had passed for now, but both of them knew it wasn't over. Marcus looked down at her face. There was something peaceful about her, even after everything. The way her silver hair fell across her forehead, the way her skin glowed faintly even while she slept, all felt unreal, like a dream. But she was real, and she had saved his life. He brushed her hair back and whispered, "You're stronger than you think." Kara stirred slowly. Her golden eyes blinked open, meeting his. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. Her hands slid into his, warm and light, and for a moment, neither of them said anything. Then she sat up slowly and looked around. The chamber they had entered during their escape wasn't like the other caves. The walls here were smooth and shaped, as if carved by intelligent hands. Strange symbols glowed across the stone-curved lines, circles, stars. A large pillar stood in the center of the room, humming with energy. Kara stood. Marcus followed her eyes. "What is this place?" She didn't answer with words. Instead, she walked toward the pillar. As she stepped closer, the glowing symbols lit up, brighter and faster. The ground beneath her feet responded, lines of light racing out from her steps. Marcus stood back, watching. Kara placed her hand on the pillar. It pulsed once. Then something incredible happened. The air shifted. A gentle wind began to move through the cave. The crystals on the walls glowed brighter, changing colors: silver, gold, violet, and then the pillar opened. A projection appeared in the air. An alien figure stood tall, elegant, with a face like Kara's and robes lined with stars. The figure spoke in a soft, echoing voice in a language Marcus didn't understand. Kara stared at the figure. Frozen. The image changed, flashing memories and symbols. A planet covered in forests. A city made of light. A council of tall beings standing in a circle. Then war. Flames. Explosions. Kara, younger, being hidden inside a capsule. The same creature Marcus had found in the rain. The image faded. Kara turned to Marcus, her voice shaky. "This is where I was born." Marcus stepped closer. "You were hidden here." She nodded. "They sent me to sleep, to survive. When the war came." He took a breath. "You're more than just different." Kara walked to the edge of the room and touched one of the walls. A new section opened, a smooth pod shaped like a bed with lights around the frame. Beside it was a panel with more symbols. "I was the last child of my kind," she said. "A guardian, born with the power to shift form, to protect, to lead." Marcus listened carefully. "They thought I died," she continued. "But I was sleeping, buried here, waiting for someone to find me." He stared at her, overwhelmed, and I was that someone. Kara looked at him with soft, glowing eyes. "You showed me kindness when I had nothing, not even a voice." He stepped forward, reaching for her hand. "You didn't need a voice. I saw who you were." She smiled, then turned back to the pod. "This place, it remembers me. And it's giving me back what I lost." With that, the pod opened further, revealing a long, flowing robe made of soft silver material that shimmered with power. Kara picked it up and held it close. Marcus blinked. "That's not just clothing, is it?" She shook her head. "It's part of the guardian bond. It helps control the power inside. If I wear this, I become whole again." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. "Will it hurt you?" "No," she whispered. "It will set me free." She walked behind one of the glowing crystal columns and changed. When she stepped out, Marcus was speechless. Kara looked taller, more confident. The robe wrapped around her like flowing light. Her eyes glowed deeper, and lines of energy ran along her arms, matching the symbols on the walls. She wasn't just Kara anymore. She was something more, something ancient, something powerful. "You look incredible," Marcus said quietly. She walked toward him. "But I'm still me." He nodded. "I know, and I'm still here." Kara touched his chest. "You don't have to stay. I want to." Her hand rested over his heart. "Then I won't run anymore." The chamber hummed around them. The energy in the room seemed to recognize her fully now. She was awake, her memories were returning, her power was complete, and the hunters would come again. But this time, Shu would not hide. Shu would fight, and she would not be alone. The cave walls trembled. The glowing crystals flickered as the sound of footsteps echoed through the tunnels. The hunters had returned, stronger, more determined. They had tracked Kara to the ancient chamber. This time, they would not stop. Marcus stood at the entrance, holding his rifle tight. His heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his eyes focused. He had faced many dangers in his life, but nothing like this. Nothing that made him feel like everything truly mattered. Kara stood. Beside him, she no longer looked like the quiet girl who had once shivered under his coat. She wore the silver guardian robe, her body surrounded by soft light. Her eyes glowed like twin suns. The energy pulsing through her made the very walls of the chamber hum. She was ready. Marcus turned to her. "This is it." Kara looked toward the dark tunnel. "Yes, you don't have to fight them alone," he said. She smiled. "I'm not alone anymore." The first hunter appeared tall, armored in black and red. Then another. Then a third. They didn't speak. They moved forward like machines, their weapons glowing, their steps heavy with purpose. Marcus raised his gun. "If they want you, they'll have to get through me." Kara stepped forward, placing her hand on his arm. "You've already done enough." "No," he said firmly. "This isn't just about you anymore. I care about you, Kara, and I'm not going anywhere." She paused, her golden eyes searching his face. Then she nodded once and stepped into the light. The chamber responded. To her presence, walls glowed brighter. Symbols lit up across the floor. A wind rose from the center of the room as if the planet itself was waking with her. The hunters charged. The first raised a spear of light. Kara lifted her hands, and a wave of energy shot forward, knocking the hunter back into the wall. The second fired a weapon that cracked the air, but Marcus shot it mid-flight, covering her from the side. They fought together. Kara moved with grace and power, her feet barely touching the ground. Every strike of her hand sent pulses through the stone. She didn't just attack, she defended, shielded, and controlled the space around them. Marcus fought like a soldier. Steady, calm, precise. He stayed at her side, watching her back, trusting her power. The third hunter leaped from the shadows, blade aimed at Marcus's chest. Kara spun, catching the blade with her bare hand, her light melting through the weapon. Mand sent the hunter crashing into the ground. The last enemy stood. Trembling, it took a step back. Kara walked forward, glowing like a star. The hunter turned and ran. Silence fell. Only the sound of heavy breathing remained. Marcus leaned against the wall, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Are they gone?" Kara nodded. "For now." He smiled. "We make a good team." She walked to him slowly and sat beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of emotion. "I wasn't supposed to feel this," she said. He looked at her. "Feel what? Trust? Safety? Belonging?" Marcus leaned closer. "You belong." She reached out, gently placing her hand over his heart. "You saved me when I was no one. You saw me when I was just a scared creature." He nodded. "And now you've become something amazing." Kara smiled. "I became who I was meant to be because of you." Marcus looked into her eyes. "What happens now?" She turned toward the glowing chamber. "This place was meant to hold me. But now I want to live. With me. With you," she whispered. "If you'll have me." He reached out, gently brushing her cheek. "Always." She leaned in, resting her forehead against his. The light around them dimmed to a soft glow. The cave no longer felt like a battlefield. It felt like the beginning of something new. Outside, the sun rose above the mountains. Inside, the last of her kind had found something greater than power. She had found someone who saw her truly, saw her not as a weapon, not as a creature, but as a person, as a girl, as a protector, and as the one who had chosen him.